Now I would like to do an example using these 5 steps, and if you didn't watch the first video, that's okay. I'll go through the 5 steps in this one as well for graphing quadratics. So, example 1. We're going to sketch the quadratic. I've got to make one up. Y equals, really doesn't matter how complicated I make this, so why am I overthinking it? X squared, take 7x, take 8. So we've got the quadratic y equals x squared, take 7x, take 8. And we're trying to sketch it. So, first step, step 1. Smiley or sad? So if we have y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, that's like the generic form. And for our equation, it's y equals 1x squared, take 7x, take 8. The number in front of the x squared is a. So here a equals 1, which is positive. Therefore, it's concave up, which is a smiley face, smiley, 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 smiley face. Excellent. So we've done step 1 already. Let's now have a look at step 2. Now, if you remember from step 2, it's to find the y-intercept. Now, this is fairly straightforward. It's just like with graphing straight lines. Let x equals 0, y equals 1 times 0 squared, take 7 times 0, take 8, so y equals negative 8. Okay, so we know that it's going to cross the x-axis, the y-axis fairly low down. And step 3, this is the most time-consuming one. Find the x-intercepts. So just like in a straight line, to find the x-intercepts, we let y equals 0. So here we have 0 equals 1x squared, take 7x, take 8. Now there's 2 ways to go here. We could either factorize or quadratic formula. If we factorize it, we're PSFing it. So we're trying to figure out what times is to give negative 8 that adds to give negative 7. And the numbers that multiply to give negative 8, we've got negative 1, positive 8, negative 8 and positive 1, negative 4, positive 2, positive 4, negative 2, negative 8 and positive 1 do that. So I know 0 equals x take 8, x plus 1, which means x equals positive 8 and x equals negative 1. We've been through why they change signs, because x take 8 equals 0, so x equals positive 8, x plus 1 equals 0, so x equals negative 1. If we wanted to do this in the quadratic formula instead, we'd get the same answer. X equals minus b plus minus the square root of b squared, take 4ac all over 2a, which would give us negative 7 plus minus the square root of negative 7 squared, take 4 times 1 times negative 8, all over 2 times 1. X equals, well, that's positive 7 plus minus the square root of 49 plus 32. Yeah, 49 plus 32, which is something 1. 81 all over 2. So we've got x equals 7 plus minus 9 over 2. So x equals 7 plus 9 is 16. And x equals 7 take 9, negative 2 over 2. X equals positive 8. And x equals negative 1. So here, PSF, actually factorizing was a lot quicker. If you're quick with the quadratic formula, you obviously don't need to write out all of those steps. I would write out this step and maybe a few down here. Here factorizing was a lot quicker. Okay, step 4. Find the axis of symmetry. So there's 2 ways. We can just do halfway between the x-intercepts. Or we can do the quick way, x equals minus b over 2a. So halfway between the x-intercepts, so we've got our x-intercepts are 8 and negative 1. And halfway between, you add them together and divide by 2, always. 8 plus negative 1 is 7 on 2, which gives me 3.5. X equals minus b over 2a. X equals minus b is minus negative 7 all over 2 times 1. X equals 7 over 2, or 3.5. Okay, and last step, last but not least, find the fy coordinate of the axis of symmetry. The y coordinate of the vertex, or you could call it the turning point. So we sub x equals 7 on 2 into y equals, and our equation we started with was 1x squared take 7x take 8. So y equals 7 on 2 squared take 7 times 7 on 2 take 8. I hope you've got a calculator, because I don't. Ugh, wish I did. Okay, that's 49 on 4 take 49 on 2 take 8, which gives us, if I make everything over 4, then that's 49. 2 lots of 49, 98. And 32. So 49 take 98 take 32. 49 plus 32 gives us 181 over 4. Or 20 and a quarter. And now we can sketch. Wish I'd chosen something better. Okay. And this is always going to be slightly approximate, by the way. We're not the best sketchers. Okay, so I know I want the points. What was my y coordinate? Y-intercept. It was negative 8. So I'm going to make negative 8 be like... Oh, sorry. This is negative. Okay. I want negative 8 to be like... negative 8, negative 4, negative 12, negative 16, negative 20, etc. 4, 8. My x-axis, I know I'm going to have to go between positive 8 and negative 1. So if I make positive 8 all the way here, to 4, 6, 8. Yep. Okay. So the important points I'm going to have to put in is my y-intercept, my x-intercepts, and the turning point. The x-coordinate of the turning point was 3.5. And the y-coordinate was like 20.25. So I'm going to have to put a dot there as well. And then my parabola, you kind of just smooth it out as much as you can. And it looks like that. Not very pretty, but it'll do. So that's the first basic example. I'm going to do a more complicated example with a kind of worse formula to work with in our next example. How do I pause that recording?